This is Mr. B, and this is Mr. B's class. Today we are going to be learning about adding decimals. But first, to Mr. I with the weather.
Oh, hello there. Oh, well, the weather segment. Oh, okay. Actually, it's black outside, so you don't need to know the weather. Go to sleep, children. Go to sleep. No, it's math class. Don't go to sleep. Not yet. I should go. I should go to sleep. That's what should happen. Okay.
And now for adding decimals. Here we go. Okay, so let's start adding decimals then. So here we are. So yeah, let's just do it just to start off with. We'll have a few easy problems, and we'll just start breaking down the problem to begin with. So let's say we have 0.35, and we want to add it to, let's say, 0.46. Well, one of the ways we can do this to add these together is that we can break them down by their tenths, right? And the tenths are here. Right? We can break them down the tenths, so we can break down the hundreds. So we can add the hundreds together and the tenths together. So we can go 0.3 plus 0.4, and that equals 0.7. So it's much like regular math, just you have a 0 point in front of it. And then next we go on to the hundredths. So we have 0.05. Remember that a hundredth has 2 digits, and it'll be plus 0.06. Well, when we add these together, we're going to get 0.11. So we'll get 11 hundredths, right? So yeah, once it gets to, then we get over the next place value, and then now we just have to add these two, right? So we just go like this and like this. It's not exactly lined up, but you get the idea. So this would be 0. Well, we work on this side. There's nothing here, so when we don't see anything, we imagine that there will be a 0 there. So it's 1 and then 81, and there you have it. That's how you can do it by breaking it up. Now we can do that again just to show you again this method of doing it. So let's say 0.27 plus 0.44. Oh, those are terrible fours. And then we just break it up again. So what would that be? 0.2, so 2 tenths plus 4 tenths. And what will that equal? Well, it'll equal 6 tenths, so 0.6. And now we have 7 hundredths and 4 hundredths. So we'll just go 0.7 plus 0.4, and that's going to equal, well, 11 hundredths. Oh, whoa, Mr. B. That was not good. Sorry, guys. I just made a fatal flaw, right? 0.7, 0.04, right? So these are hundredths, so they need to be in the second row. Even I can make little mistakes here. But yeah, it equals 0.11, 11 hundredths. And so again, we just add these together, just like so. And there's nothing in the hundredths column, so you just get the 1 there, and then there's a 1 in the, now you get 7 here, and it'll be 0. So it'll be 71 hundredths is what 27 hundredths and 44 hundredths mean equal. So that's how you can do it that way. Now we have to remember, yeah, I've been kind of saying it, that when you write a math question, like let's say, if we're at just anything, like, right, if we're adding 7 and 31, right, I can't write it like this, right, when we're adding 7 plus 31, because this, what will this do? This will make it all wrong, right? We'll be tempted to add it like this, and we'll say, okay, well, something like that, right, which is incorrect. What we need to do is we need to make sure that the number is in the right place value. So if we're adding 7 to 31, we have to make sure the 7 is in the ones column, right? 7 ones and 1 ones, right? And it's the same with decimals. When we add, just like here, if we were to add 0.6 to 0.11, we have to make sure that they're in the right columns, right? The right place values. That the tenths have to be added to tenths, and the hundredths have to be added to hundredths. So that's really, really important. Okay, so now we'll just continue with adding decimals. I'll make a new little page here so I don't have to erase everything. So yeah, we're adding decimals. Remember, it's kind of like adding fractions, right? When you're adding these, it'd just be like 21 equal plus, well, oh man, I keep hitting the erase button, plus 14 over 100. So when we add these hundredths together, let's get that 4 looking good. What do we get? Well, we'll get 35 hundredths. And this is the same when you're doing decimals, but with decimals you make sure that you've got them all lined up. So 0.21 and 0.14, right? These are hundredths, and you make sure that they're all in line. And so it's just 1 plus 4 is 5, 2 plus 1 is 3, and then you have, so you get 35 hundredths, or 0.35, and that's what those are added up together to do. So yeah, really, if you notice here, adding decimals is pretty much the same as adding whole numbers. You're just kind of behind the 0 here. So basically what you're doing is you've just, instead of adding normal numbers, you're adding at a smaller scale. And so it's a very similar concept, right? Now, because of that, we have to remember how regrouping works, right? So you've done this before in the past where you've had to regroup numbers, right? So if I give you let's say 35 plus 0.16, what are we going to do here? Well, so when we regroup, what we do is we see, oh yeah, we add these together, right? So it's 6 plus 5 is 1, right? It's 11. So you put the 1 here, and you also put a 1 over here to suggest that a 1 has gone in the hundredths column, and there's also going to be a 1 extra in the tenths column. And so you go 3, 4, 5, and you get 51, 0.51. So yeah, remember, that's how you group them together. You work kind of this from kind of over like that. So that's, yeah, the main idea there. And so I can show you again, 0.74. So some of you guys will just be able to, it's the same concept, right, as we've done before in other lessons. So it's nothing too new. So right, 8 plus 4 is 12. So we put a 2 here in the hundredths column, right? And then the 1 is going to go over here because it's a tenth, right? So just like if we have this, well, let's take a look at it like this. So if you added 0.04 to 0.08, right? When you add these together, you'll get 0.0, right? Because it goes over to the 10th column. So it comes over here. This makes this, so 7 plus 1 is 8, and then it's plus another 1, and it's 9, and that's our answer. So yeah, we can do one more just for the sake of understanding, just to make sure everyone's grasping this. Oh, the kitty cat is meowing. 0.67 plus 0.23. So this one, right, we remember we start on this side and we go, okay, so 7 plus 3 is 10, so we put a 0 in the hundredths column, and there's a 1 extra over here. And then we're like, okay, so 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And then we have 0.90. And voila, there you go. So that's that idea. Now, just for our next concept is adding decimals with different numbers of digits. So you know that we could add, we'll just look at this one, plus 0.7, and then you go, oh, well, this plus sign should probably be down here, 0.15, right? So we're adding hundredths to tenths. Now, this is actually fairly easy. When you encounter a blank space like we have here, because this is right? This is in the tenths column. This is supposed to be there. And when you have a tenth, sometimes you don't have a number here. When we don't have a number here, what we imagine is that there is no number here to deal with. So this is basically a 0, right? There's nothing. So if we're adding this, we just say, okay, plus 5, and then these ones, it'll be 8.0, right? So 0 plus 5 is 5, and there we go. And so that's pretty similar. So when we were adding tenths to hundredths or to thousandths, we will end up with different amounts of digits. Just remember to line up the place value and consider the blanks kind of as zeros, and that'll give you your best result. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of do a few examples of this. So just 0.38 plus 0.4, right? So this is a 4 tenths and this is 38 hundredths, and so we add this. So we start here, 8 is added to the kind of the nothing, the 0, and so then it'll be 8 here, and then we just add these together and we get 7, and it is 0.78, and there you go. And so we'll do one more for the sake of it, just to see. Well, actually this one just wants me to do a 0. How about we do 0.1 plus 0.85, right? So same concept, nothing here, right, in the hundredth zone. So the nothing plus 5 is just 5, and then 1 plus 8 is 9, and then we get 0. So the tenths have to add to the tenths, the hundredths add to the hundredths, and it's only when this column builds up past 10 that to 10 that it goes over into the next column, right? Okay, so now we're gonna have even more fun. We're gonna get into the great world of adding numbers with whole numbers and decimals. So what are we going to deal with here? So let's look at something like this. 1.38 plus 2.21. So how are we going to do this? Well, let's line up our digits, right? So 1.38 plus 2.21, right? So this is the ones column, so we line up the ones. This is the tenths column, so we line up the tenths. This is the eighths column, so we line up the eighths. So now we just add these. So 8 plus 1, so just make sure this is nicely set out. That's 9, and then this is 5, and then this is 3. And there we go. Easy as apple pie. Okay, and then let's do another one. Let's get rid of this. So let's do 6.47 plus 1.45. Okay, so here we go. This will be fun. So 7 plus 5 is 12. So there. And then you get the extra 1 goes into the tenths column. And so now you have 4 plus 4 plus 1, which is 9, right? 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And then you have this 6 and a 1, which is, but it's after the decimal point, right? So the decimal point, make sure you keep that. And there you go, 7.92. right? And you make sure that the decimal point remains in the same sort of spot, and you are off to the races. Now, sometimes you might encounter something a little bit more exciting, right? So it might even push you over your limits here. So let's look at this one. 2.96 plus 5.8. Now look at this. So this has a few different concepts in it all together. So this is really epic math problem. So look, 6 goes here and we don't see anything, right? These are properly lined up. This is a tenth and this is a tenth, so we know that they're lined up properly. And so we go here, okay, there's nothing, so we just say, okay, 6 plus nothing is 6. 9 plus 8, okay, so what's that? That is going to be 17, right? And so just like before, we carry the 1, the extra 1, over here. And we just say, okay, so now it's 3 plus 5 is 8. That's a point, and there we go. Now I want to show you that just a little bit more consistently. So if we have 0.9 plus 0.8, right? When you get to 10 tenths, you actually go to 1 whole, right? And that is where it puts over on the other side. So this is like saying 9 tenths plus 8 tenths, right? So what happens here is we get a whole and then some left over, right? There's going to be extras, especially, so if you did this, what will you get? You'll get, let's just, can I go down a little bit more? Up. Okay, so let's look here. So if you did this, you'd get 17 tenths, and right, what you do when you were to find how many holes you'd get, you get 1 hole and you'd get a remainder of 7, right? If you divide 17 by 10, get 1 hole and a remainder of 7. And so that's exactly what's going to happen here. When you add these together, you're going to get 17, right? So you get the 7 here, and then you'll get the 1 here. It'll go over here into the next column, and that is exactly what you get. So 1, and it'll be 1.7. See? It's fairly similar, right? Anyway, so that's how we make sure you're always moving over. When you hit a 10, you kind of move over to the next column. Anyways, guys, this is very similar to regular addition. I hope you enjoy your work for today. We're getting close to the end of our Krakatoan novel study, so I am trying to think frantically of what we're going to do after that. So that should be interesting. Anyways, guys, this is Mr. B signing off.